Now we are. Hello,
Yeah.
everyone. Yes.
Hey, everybody. We're getting ready.
How are we all out there? The number to call is 386-251-8100. We're going to try to take as many calls as we can get in tonight. Thank you for being here.
And welcome to the Ruckus Room. Happy Monday. And it feels like a Monday, doesn't it?
It really has. It's been I've been busy. Mondays typically are very busy for me. So yeah, it was busy.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Mondays lately have been so overwhelming. Good evening, everybody. Again, the number is 386-251-8100. Got our first live caller. Good evening, and thank you for calling into the Ruckus Room. Caller, this is Chrissy. How can I help you today?
Yes, I was just calling in for some guidance. I was recently let go from my job of 8 years, and I have some kids and a house. I'm a single mom, and I just thought it might be a good idea to call in and see if there's anything that she would have to say about either anything she sees from my future, or like the path I should be looking at or taking, or if maybe anybody from my past has anything to do to guide me.
Absolutely. Honey, what is your first name?
Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany. Welcome. First of all, I'm so sorry
Thank you.
that is happening for you. That's very disconcerting when you're a single mom. I was a single mom for 10 years. I know how hard that is. It's very overwhelming when everything lands on your shoulder. And that's what I'm feeling for you tonight, that everything is kind of right there on your shoulders and it's really, really difficult. So what I'm getting from Spirit is that the first thing that I think I'm feeling or hearing is that you were moved out of that situation because it really no longer served you, and that what you're being brought into is going to be the better road and the better path for you, where it's going to allow you to grow and expand. I feel like there was a lot of restriction in that last situation, and the only way for you to move forward and to gain what it is you want is to keep looking for gainful employment. Or the other thing that I was kind of picking up, honey, is you have a mother energy here. And I'm getting this like nurturing energy of like moving yourself forward in the direction that you want to go. So I'm feeling like there might even be like options to learn something new. So I feel like definitely keep looking, because that keeps your root chakra grounded, right? That you're kind of putting your feelers out there. But I'm also feeling like in the next few months, there's going to be an opportunity that kind of comes to you that feels like it's out of the blue. What I'm getting is that it's going to be an opportunity that may stretch you. It's going to grow you, because it's going to be an opportunity that maybe you don't feel ready for, or you really never thought you were going to be able to do it. They're not showing me exactly what avenue it's in. I'm not really picking up. I'm just picking up education, if you want to know the truth. So I don't know if like you're getting more education, or if education is the vein they want you to go in. But definitely learning something new is what I'm picking up. This mother energy is coming in um, to help you be open to feel nurtured and loved and safe and stable, so that when the new opportunity comes in, even though it's maybe unlike anything you've done before, or it's something that you'd always wanted to do and didn't think you'd have the opportunity to do, that you're ready to take it. And that's what I'm picking up, that it's time to go in a new direction. It's time to go and accept the opportunity that's showing up for you.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have. It's been a few weeks since I got laid off, and I kind of hit a roadblock with everything that I was in the field that I was in. I either can't find anything where I make, close to the same to be able to sustain my lifestyle for me and my kids on, or it was a matter of having to go back to school or get further education to move up in that arena. But I did recently have a friend that just thought that he had an idea for me that wasn't anything like what I had done before, but referred me to somebody else, and I got a really good opportunity. It's just a completely different uh, realm of work than what I've been doing, so it would require a lot of learning and basically taking a chance on it. But so interesting. That was something that was kind of in the mix.
And I feel like the spirit is really nudging you and encouraging you to embrace that. That's why nothing worked out in
Okay.
the old on the old road, honey, with the old job, with the old whatever that was. Like that's why it didn't work out, because that's not your road anymore. And I feel like spirit bumped you out of it because you were never going to bump yourself out of it because it was comfortable. The problem is spirit wants to bring you more, and that's why you have to go on this new path.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It makes sense. I like recently went through a divorce and got a new house, and it was like the job was like the only thing still like remaining from that previous me. So it was something that I was thinking of doing, but again, it was a stable job. So yeah, I guess that was the nudge I needed.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Have a great night.
All right, bye.
Bye.
You too.
Hey, everybody, back. Welcome to the Ruckus Room again. The number is 386-251-8100. Taking calls with Miss Melissa. And while we're in between calls, I wanted to just talk to you. Obviously, we have just devastating news coming out of Texas the last few days. And I wanted to ask you, you know, as a medium and who reads spirits and different things going on, how does this affect you when tragic events like this happen and people reach out to you?
So let me start by saying that when something happens in the collective, in the world, that's pretty significant, I get an intuitive nudge. I feel it. I feel it in my gut. I feel something's not right in the state of Denmark. Sometimes it's an overwhelming sadness. Sometimes it's a physical pain. It just depends on what it is. And then I get on the news and, I hear tragic things like, there was a war broke out, or we've had this, horrible tragedy, very unexpected, things like Texas. And, the hurricane season last year was really devastating in Florida and also North Carolina. And so, when these things happen, yes, as a medium, I do feel the grief. I feel the sadness. I feel the fear. That rises up within all these people that are affected, their family, their friends, and then the community. So it's something that, as a medium, I do get a feeling on. Sometimes I know what it is, sometimes I don't. And sometimes I have to do a little, digging or investigating. But, when you have that many people terrified, right, it puts up a energetic, it's in the field, it's in the matrix, all the energy goes into the matrix. And so yes, those of us who can read energy or feel energy, we feel it. And it took me a long time as a medium to figure out why I would wake up feeling like I needed to jump out of bed and something was really wrong, and there was nothing wrong in my life and everybody in my family was fine. And then I'd get on the news and I would see horrific things that happened, and I started to put pieces together for myself that I was tapping into the collective. I was tapping into things that were happening in the world, and that were, scary and sad and terrifying and horrible.
Yeah. I mean, what has been going on is completely devastating to even think about. I have a daughter who's 7 years old, and I can't even imagine dropping her off to camp and having something as terrible happen to this and them getting swept away in the middle of the night like this. So emotionally, the weight of sudden loss to somebody, how can mediums help them not necessarily find closure, but kind of get a little bit of peace out of something so tragic that happened like this from your
Well, I think that's,
experience?
yeah, and I think that that's what mediums do overall for anybody, whether it's tragic or non-tragic. But we're getting in touch with your crossed over loved one to let you know that on the other side they're okay. And when you have a baby, and when you have your baby that you're, especially, children, they're so innocent, and it's your job to protect them. And so, yes, you drop them off to this place that you've done research, you've looked to see that it's, they're going to be safe, they're going to be taken care of, and you've done your due diligence as a parent, and you're feeling good about it. And then to have something horrific like that happen so unexpectedly, that's what mediums do, is they help people to reconcile their emotions, the grieving process, but to really get in touch with that loved one, child, or whoever, to know that they're okay on the other side. That's what everybody wants to know. Is my loved one okay? Are they scared? Are they alone? Are they out there in the ethers, not knowing where to go or what to do? And that's our job. That's our job. And as an evidential medium, that's why I try to pull through the evidence. So I'm not just convincing you that I'm talking to your crossed over loved one, that I'm trying to back it up with, real evidence of, who they are, what they look like, what they did, how they died, and any other sign or symbol they want to bring through to let you know that that truly is them. And so that's what I try to do, is I try to bring through enough information so that the people can feel that their loved one is in the room with us.
Yeah.
And then also whatever message they want to bring through. And 100% of the time, the messages that they want to bring through is that they're okay, that they're still with them, that they really haven't gone anywhere, that physically their body has ended, but their soul and their life and their essence of who they are, their personality, their memories, that's all still intact, and they're with them, trying to give them signs, and trying to still communicate with them and have a relationship with them. And people who are grief stricken, horribly grief stricken in those kind of tragic situations, it can take a lot of time for them to get to a point where they can contact or be contacted by their loved one, because they're just energetically so distracted. They're just not able to receive the signs, and they're not able to receive the messages that their loved ones are bringing forth. So going to a medium who's doing their job can be really, really beneficial to the grieving process, to get over the, are they okay? The fear that they're not okay, the fear that they're still trapped, or they're still whatever. But that's a lot of what I do, that I love about what I do, is helping those who are really just terrified that their loved one isn't okay.
When you have somebody who's completely grief stricken, or something that happens tragically like this, do you find that people will overuse you or your expertise or mediumship in this, because they just want so badly to have that person back in their life, and they hold on every hope, every day, trying to just contact them or have them? Have you ever really noticed that in your experience?
There's definitely situations where people are so grief stricken that, they want to have a reading, every week, and so as a job, part of my job is to not become a crutch for someone. That, yes, I want to help you with your grieving process, but you have to go through the process. So, if I find that you keep coming back to me and you're not working through the grief, I will talk to you about, grief counseling, or, finding someone to talk to, or, a faith outlet, or, something to help you. Because some people can get really, really stuck in the anger and the fear and the sadness. And the beautiful thing is, if you can move through that part of the grief, when you're doing the remembering of your loved one, it doesn't take you to your knees. You can really start to remember them and experience them in a way that the love comes through. Because when you're in fear and you're in anger and you're really holding on to that, why me, or why them, or, the questions, it keeps you from being able to feel the love that they're still trying to send you.
Yeah. Well, I just want to reiterate, everybody, it's 386-251-8100 is the number if you'd like to call in today to talk to Miss Melissa. If you have any questions or need any guidance, well, that lines are open. I know briefly we talked about soul contracts, Would you please, in your interpretation of it, discuss that, what that means?
In my experience,
Yes.
yeah, soul contracts are what we sign when we come into this lifetime. We kind of sign up for what we're going to heal, what we're going to experience, who we're going to encounter, who we're going to experience life with, and how long we're going to be here. Like it's everything's in that contract. That being said, that contract is also very malleable. So because we have free will choice, that contract can change, but it really is kind of like the overarching roadmap to what your life is going to look like when you're down here on earth. And so that's part of, helping people to understand that sometimes when people have crossed over too soon, we feel too soon, or the way that they've crossed over maybe was not what you would want for them. It was difficult or horrific. You know, they had free will. They got to choose. Like they got to have that plan, because we come in not remembering. We come in not remembering our past lives. We come in not remembering our higher self or anything that we experienced before this lifetime. And so that contract kind of keeps guiding our life. And for some, they decide to change the contract, and that's okay. I've actually heard it termed, it's written in invisible ink. So it can be changed. But it is the guiding force. And, that's where, for me personally, the faith comes in. Like I made that contract with my higher self and with God and source. And so I have to trust that I'm going to work it out, that everything is going to work out. And like this last caller, sometimes we, in our humanness, we try to stay safe and stable, We try to stay in comfortable. And unfortunately, we're not here to be comfortable. We're here to grow and evolve. And so sometimes spirit does have to bump us out of our comfortability to get us back on the path of what we kind of signed up for. And so when you feel that you have been maybe bumped out of something, and it wasn't your fault, or somebody did you dirty, honestly, if you can look at it as I got protected. That was not a good situation for me. I needed to get out of that situation, and I wasn't going to do it for whatever reason, whether, I was just too afraid to make the change. I didn't have the faith that I was going to be held and spirit was going to bring me what I needed when I needed it, because when we're holding on to imprints of unworthiness or powerlessness, if we get into a situation, no matter how bad it is, the alternative is too scary. The alternative of changing it or going into the unknown is way too scary. So we choose to stay in the situation that's maybe hurting us.
Yeah.
They can be really bad situations, but sometimes people choose bad over what they don't know. And that's when spirit comes in and says, we've got so much better for you. We have the better relationship, the one that's going to honor you and respect you. And we have the job that's going to promote you and give to you. But you have to make the break of what's not working in your life. And sometimes we as humans, we go, no, 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 no. I'm going to stay where this is not what I want, but it's what I know. So I'm going to
Yeah.
stay. And spirit is always trying to take you to the better option.
So when your soul contract's done, I know that means your work is done here on earth, but what about when you go to the spiritual side, the spirit side?
You do a review. How well did you do? How
Oh,
much did you?
really?
Yeah. How
Yeah.
well did you do? How much did you accomplish? Did you stay on course? Did you not stay on course? Because again, we have free will choice, right? So I can't tell you, like,
Yeah.
in my own personal experience, I mean, it's taken me sometimes decades to make the choices that I've needed to make for myself, because I was the person that if I got comfortable, it maybe wasn't what I wanted, but I'm a Capricorn. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to stick to it no matter what. I can get it done. Right. So for me, I've definitely had that, like, had to bump my nose before I got it, that I had to move, that I had to change, that I was needed in a different direction. But yeah, you get on the other side and you have to have that contract review.
So then after the contract review, you're just kind of overseeing your loved ones at that point then after that?
I mean,
And
there's
that's your
definitely,
work.
yeah, there's different, I mean, different mediums and different psychics have like a different take on it. So, I mean, but what I've done is I've kind of pulled from all different people and kind of looked at what they felt like was the other side. And I feel like you do the review. I feel like you get some time to kind of maybe downtime. And then, yes, and then you get a job. And that job is, part of it is to help your loved ones stay on their path or do what they need to do. And then, at some point, you decide to move on or come back or, whatever else your soul is signed up for. So, but yeah.
It's a lot to take in, especially like the last few days of stuff that happened. It's just even like I don't have a mediumship or anything like psychic ability. It's just I don't know how anyone could not feel just total devastation inside. I mean, I can't even imagine what those families are going through. And I guess if you were wanting to speak to anybody who's lost a loved one over there, what are some ways that you feel someone could rebuild after a loss like that? um, you know, what advice would you give them and how would to cope with the grief and the loss of something like this?
They were young, and so they're innocent. And so, what I'm getting is that, they've gone right back to source. They've gone right back to God. They've gone right back to their families on the other side. They're all being held. They're all being cared for. They're all being watched over by their families. And they were innocent. And so, you know, take solace in the fact that they are with their families and they're with God in source or, whatever your belief system is, that they're protected and they're safe. And as much as you miss them, and as hard as it is to let them be on the other side, that as parents, um, we want our babies in our arms.
Yeah.
And, when you can't have that, taking solace in the fact that they're in the arms of God and they are in the arms of their family members, their grandmothers, their great grandmothers, their fathers, their great grandfathers, their uncles, their aunts. Um, we have a whole soul family on the other side, and that's where they are, and they're protected and they're safe. Are they going to miss you? Are they going to want to be with you? Of course, but they are where they are supposed to be. And it's really hard to accept that when you feel like you've had that whole childhood stolen from you. You've had the future stolen from you. The graduations and the birthdays and the weddings and the grandchildren. So it is hard. It is very hard. But to know that they are with source, to know that they are held in the arms of their soul family, they are safe, they are protected. I think that's
Yeah. Um, you said earlier that because they were young, you think they crossed over immediately. Does that when children go to the other side, if someone wants to get a reading and talk to like connect with their spirit, is that almost immediately or do you have to wait? Because I know like you said earlier in some other shows, sometimes it takes 6 months to a year. Is that all cases or is it as younger as you are, they cross over faster or from your experience?
so when they cross over the first month or so, their spirit is still very tied to our dimension, to this side of the veil. And so you may still feel them. You may still dream about them very uh, real. It feels like they're really there because they're still very close to this side of the veil. Like they are, it takes some time for them to get to the other side and then to kind of move through the positions on the other side. And so immediately, the first 6 months, you may be able to get into contact with them. Um, Honestly, you would be able to get into contact with them. they may not have like a whole lot to say. And because they're still kind of figuring out the whole energy thing. Um, but I do, no matter what the age, like to get a really good session, I would say wait at least 8 to 12 months. At least 8 months. At least 8 months. But that first month, you may still feel them energetically like they're right there next to you, because they are. Some people even see their loved one, because they're still very close to this side of the veil. They're still energetically very close. But then after that, it can take a while to really kind of get a good session with them. So
Yeah, I remember it was a reading or a couple shows ago. Somebody said that they waited at least 8 to 12 months, like you said, to do, and they had such a better reading than when they called it 3 months. So it makes sense. I'm sorry, I just found out we got kicked off of Facebook Live. I'm sorry about that. We'll try to get that fixed for next week. The phone number is 386-251-8100 for next week also. And before we close out, I just wanted to see if you could pull a card for
sure.
the collective. I kind of like closing out our shows with that now. Sometimes like throughout all of this, hopefully there's a good card that's coming or silver lining on the other side.
Sure. So what I will do is I will pull a green witch oracle card for all of us. So take what resonates as always. Leave what does not resonate for others. And
is this a new deck, Green Witch?
So I was
Sounds
down.
Like a new one.
Yeah, I was down in Pennsylvania with my sister, and we were at a bookstore, and I was going to buy it, and she's like, "Don't buy it. I have it. I'll give it to you." So this is gifted from her. So it feels
that's
special.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh, success.
Wow.
Success. So let me read card number 20. Card number 20. Peppermint indicates rapid progress, a quick return or increase of positive energies. And if you are seeking an answer, it is a loud and firm yes. Make sure you are directing all your energy and attention to the task at hand, and you will be in a relationship. Try to do more activities with the person that pleases them. There is a need to listen to others and consider other arguments at the moment, but do not let others completely make decisions for you. So there it is, peppermint. And peppermint is a great essential oil to use for pain and for anytime you're feeling sad. I'm gonna say sad. So yeah, peppermint is my go-to for a lot of things, but success is on the horizon. As long as you believe, you will receive. Everything is energy. Where energy goes, energy flows. So where intention goes, energy flows. So
I was gonna say, I know you're for. Well, that's a great way to close out tonight. And like I said, we'll get the Flagler. We'll figure out what's going on in Flagler Voice Facebook page for next week. We'll see you at 6:30 next Monday, and the number will be 386-251-8100 in the studio of Miss Melissa. Have a great night, folks.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.